Live from RTV6 Sports, it's time for some Monday afternoon quarterbacking on Horseplay.
A little change of pace here. Week 18 of Horseplay. We're coming to you live from RTV6 studio. Actually, this isn't the studio. This is the actual RTV6 sports office.
This is the brain
This
room.
is my home.
Is your bed is a fold-out?
I have a fold-out bed. I have a cot for everyone.
There you
It's this is where we live.
There you go.
Occasionally we go home and see the kids and the wife and everything. But anyway, hey, welcome to Week 18 of Horseplay. Great to have everybody here live on the IndyChannel.com, the RTV6 app. He's the great Jim Sorgi. He's the even better Mike Chappell. Brad Brown will be Skyping in here in a second. Lionel Bienvenu, who's a sports anchor at our sister station, KMGH, in Denver, Colorado. He's going to be Skyping in later on, live from the Denver Broncos facility.
Wow.
Not to already move ahead and look ahead to the
Well, you gotta
Denver
look ahead.
week, or can we? Can we just start
You
talking?
can just kind of jump right into that. There's a lot to talk about there.
I liked how yesterday in the locker room, usually there's the 24-hour rule. You can enjoy a win. It was like a 45-minute rule. They were already on to the Denver Broncos.
The only one that wouldn't talk about was Reggie. He said, "This is time for adult beverages. We'll talk about Denver tomorrow."
Veteran move.
Yeah,
Reggie's
that
talking
is.
about it.
No
He's
question.
thinking about it. It's in the back of his mind.
No
It's been in
question.
the back of his mind. So.
And then, of course, being reunited with Peyton Manning and all
Of course.
that. But
Ever
anyway.
since Baltimore won the day before, everybody was thinking about the chances of going there.
Well,
so.
sure.
Oh, of course.
And how well has it worked out? Because I don't know if you want to go to New England if you're the Colts. You'd rather, pick your poison, I guess.
Well,
but
correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, Baltimore beats New England. We beat Denver. We host the AFC Championship. It couldn't
Yeah.
have worked out any better for, Baltimore, the wild card team, the 6 seed to beat the 3 seed and then go to New England, a team that they have
And
really good success against, have had good
Beat
success.
them 2 out of 3
Yes.
in the playoffs, I think it is.
Yeah.
So it's
And we're getting a Peyton Manning that wasn't the Peyton Manning the first 8 games of the season. So, we stopped C.J. Anderson, but obviously Peyton can show up. But hopefully it's cold.
we're going to get to, I think it's going to be cold. You can count on that snowing maybe,
Yeah.
which may or may not be good for Adam Vinatieri, although he's used to kicking field goals in the snow. But anyway, take a look at the final yesterday as they knocked off the Cincinnati Bengals in the AFC wild card round. 26-10 was the final as the Colts racked up 482 total yards, averaged nearly 7 yards a play. Boom Herron, really one of these stories, 141 total yards plus the touchdown. Adam Vinatieri was, of course, Adam Vinatieri, 4 for 4. Boom Herron, though, let's talk about Boom a little bit. 141 yards, that was great. 2 fumbles.
but
2 fumbles. Not so
you
great.
got. It's always that but.
Yeah.
You like what he brings and all that, but you've got to get rid of those fumbles because, it gave him 3 points at the end of the first half, gave him some momentum that didn't carry over. But as much energy as he brings, he's got to protect the football better. He just simply has to.
Is that something you can work on? Is it? What do you do if you?
The first one, he was just focused on what was in front of him. He got into, space and he was just kind of worried about what he had to do with the guys that were in front of him, not worried about what was coming behind him. And he kind of got loose with, his ball security normally supposed to carry it high and tight. He got it down here, and obviously somebody came from behind and stripped the ball. So that's something that you can work on, obviously, not getting relaxed on the field at any time, just kind of carrying that ball how you're supposed to carry it. He runs just as hard and just as fast when he's got really good ball security and high and tight. The second one, that was just, that was a really good hit. He took a shot, and some guys are keen when taking shots like that to hold on to the ball. Some guys are not. Zerline Tipton took shots like that yesterday and held on to the ball as a rookie. So that's going to take a little bit more of work to get fixed. But I think the first one you can definitely get fixed. You just have to be aware of your entire surroundings, not just what's coming at you from the front.
Way more upside to what Boom did
Oh,
though
yeah.
yesterday. The downside, don't you think?
The check downs, 10 for 86, tied for the most catches by a running back in team history for the playoffs. Joseph Adai in the Super Bowl. And then he gets you positive yards. It's 2nd and 5, it's 2nd and 3. You're always kind of ahead of the chains. That's what. And the way he runs, he's just decisive. He figures out what he wants to do and he goes forward. So
Yeah.
I like the energy he brings.
And I like the fact that I could kind of tell that Andrew had his mind made up before the ball was snapped. I'm going to my check down. And when you have that kind of security blanket there, Peyton used to do it all the time. He used to get a certain defense, boom, he was going to his check down before the ball was even snapped. And it was nice when those backs can get you 5, 6, 7 yards, sometimes break a tackle and get even longer and get first downs. And I think that's what we finally saw happen yesterday. I said earlier in the week, you might not see a balanced run versus pass, but you're going to see passes that are kind of like runs. It's just not you're not just handing the ball off. It's safe throws, easy throws. Guys are going to be open, easy catches, and you're going to get some yards to keep you manageable in that down and distance, because that's what's important in the playoffs. You don't want to start, with a run on first down, lose 2 yards, and have to have an upfield battle from there.
And make it third and long and all that sort of
Right.
thing.
Well, so moving forward, I mean, the reason that Trent maybe played a play or two, he was ill over the last couple of days. Do you think they go back to Trent, if nothing else, as a second guy, or are we going to see Boom and Zerlon-Tipton moving forward?
Yeah, I don't think you can go back to Trent now.
I agree.
I don't think you can. I think Boom's your starting running back, and Zerlon-Tipton right now is your guy coming off the bench, because both of them have the same running styles. I mean, they don't dance in that hole. They hit the hole hard, and they go. And when they're getting tackled, they're falling forward. So even when they're getting tackled, they're gaining 2 yards.
It's second and 8.
Yeah, where Trent is getting hit, falling sideways or backwards, and you're just getting back to the line of scrimmage. And not to throw anything on Trent or blame or anything, but offensive line played really well yesterday. I mean, they opened up some holes. We started out saying, hey, we're a score-first offense. Whatever it takes to score first, that's what we're going to do. We did that from the get-go, and it opened up those running games. We were able to get the chunk yards running the football.
Okay, so going back to Trent, if what you say is true, and they're going to go with Boom and Zerlon, several questions here. What happens to Trent? And we excuse me, Chuck Pagano, very loyal to Trent. I just don't see that happening. I think he's going to put him back in, use the backup role or something on Sunday.
I think you stick with, maybe he's the backup. Zerlon-Tipton came in and did what he did, but maybe you've got Trent.
Yeah.
But I think you'll see less of Trent. You won't see like when it was Bradshaw and Richardson, it was sort of 60-40, whatever. You're not going to see that.
Right.
Boom's the guy.
Right.
More importantly, and this is the time to talk about it, but what do you do next year? Trent's under contract. It's $3 million in change guaranteed. Cut him or not.
If they release him, what's the cap?
It's the cap. I don't think it'd be a cap issue because there's no prorated money. It's still $3 million that Jim Irsay's got to pay. But if you release him and he signs someone else, and whatever he gets from the new team comes off of what you owe him. But do you want him back? Do you think that after a year and a half in the system, he's going to be better? I don't know. If he was a productive running back, the $3 million next year is pretty reasonable. It's very reasonable. But do you see potential? I guess at that point, why would things be different next year than this year?
If you would have seen something, don't you think you would have seen it by now?
Yeah.
No question.
Well, I was confused yesterday. He only got to play one play. Why did he come in on that one play? Was what I was confused about.
You get a participation badge if you're in the field.
I played in the playoffs. That just confused me because I mean both the running backs were available. I think Pagano was trying to teach Boom a lesson because after he fumbled that ball, they yanked him out. And he's like, come here, I need to talk to you. And you're standing next to me for a few minutes.
It was a quick hook.
So maybe that was it. Maybe Zerlon got a little tired. He didn't want to. He was still trying to teach Boom a lesson, so Trent went in the game. But it's very well possible. I mean, Trent does have the 3 years in the NFL, the experience level, whatever that may be, even though it's not enough. So maybe he is the backup moving forward.
Let's go inside the numbers. It was nip and tuck in the first half yesterday. Things really opened up, and the defense was a large part of that in stopping Andy Dalton and company. We call it inside the numbers, actually inside the second half numbers. And you talk about a struggle for Cincinnati, 2 of 7 on third down. Those 2 came late in the game. Only managed 98 total yards in the second half. Jeremy Hill, so much talk about Jeremy coming into this game. He didn't do anything, just 10 rushing yards in the second half. Andy Dalton only 64 passing yards. So, tell you what, that blitz package for the Colts came up big.
They find a way.
Yeah.
Greg Nutsky finds a way without a premier, without even a mid-level pass rusher guy. He's finding a way to create it with these blitzes, and whether that works next week, I don't know. But when you can shut down the run and then really turn your pass rush loose, it really puts pressure on Andy Dalton.
Well, why I was so excited is because we were very sound in our gap responsibilities, and that's what you got to be with. And getting
with a guy like Jeremy Hill,
yes.
They swarmed around him every time.
They swarmed him.
Yeah.
They gang tackled him. They pushed him to the sidelines. Nothing was one cut and go. And that's what you want to see. That's what you're going to have to do against Anderson next week to get him on the ground because obviously, you're dealing with a bigger back who's going to take a couple bodies. And if you only have one guy around him, we saw Jeremy Hill against the Denver Broncos. They tried to tackle him with one guy, and he's not going to get it done. I mean, he's going to break it, and then he does have the speed to really accelerate and get down the field. But the way we're playing gap sound defense and we're swarming to the football, our linebackers are playing sideline to sideline, as long as we can get a couple guys to the ball, we're going to get them to the turf.
Again, Lionel Bienvenu from our sister station, KMGH, will be joining us on the Skype lines from the Denver Broncos facility as we can start looking ahead to the AFC divisional game against the Denver Broncos. Right now, though, Brad Brown is standing by, Skyping in as well.
That's just not.
Is that Key West? Is that Florida? This doesn't look real.
I'm thinking of all the places I'd like to be right now. That's how that goes, though.
Oh, yeah. See,
I know. I'm actually sitting at home.
Wishing you were in Vegas, apparently.
I love that.
No, I'd like to think that I'm either in Maui or Las Vegas, but I'm no further than my apartment right now. So there you go. See, look, I'm home. There you go.
Yeah, Sergi wants your hat.
I love the hat.
Oh, you have the hat. I'll pass that along. This thing's been beat to death over the last couple of years. So Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
There you go.
I hope you don't mind. We rearrange your desk for you.
See what we can do. Yes, that's fine. He can. We'll come up with something to get even though.
All right. Speaking of Vegas. Why not? Let's talk about it. The Colts are 7-point dogs.
Wow.
Next Sunday.
It is, yeah. -7 for the Broncos. I don't know that that's a big surprise at this point, but we'll see where the line goes. It's funny, on the Colts game last week with this game against Cincinnati, they started out Colts -6. When the pairing came out by game day yesterday, I think the Colts were only a field goal favorite. So it was interesting to see kind of how things went around on that. It'll be interesting to see if it's still a -7 when they get to game day on Sunday. I think a lot of that will just depend on everybody's mood, kind of how the talk goes this week. If I had to guess, I would say that number probably goes up.
Yeah.
But they'll be 9 or 10 point underdog by the time they kick the thing off.
I think we got a new segment on the show.
Yeah,
Jimmy the Greek.
There you go.
With the Las Vegas sign being lit up in the background.
And the hat.
You come prepared with the hat and everything.
This is for entertainment purposes only, correct?
This is all strictly, this is all research. This is all only for information.
Exactly. Hey, what did you make of the game yesterday, Brad?
I think the Colts came out aggressive. They came out really kind of in attack mode, and I think you saw that. I did, at least. I saw that on the opening drive. Hearing you guys talk about Boom Herron. Boom's the guy now. I don't think there's any question about that. And it's interesting to go back to this conversation we had, it feels like whatever it was, 6 or 7 weeks ago, I can't pinpoint which game it was, where we sat in the Pagano news conference on Wednesday, and one of the reporters, I don't know if it was Chappell, but one of the writers asked him, who's your guy? He said, Trent Richardson's my starting running back. And that was it. That was his whole answer. And he went back to that and back to that and back to that, and clearly over the course of these last few weeks, it's been Boom being the guy. And 10 catches yesterday, 140 total yards. There's any question that success in this game and kind of beyond, if it's going to happen, Luck needs something like that, and I think he's going to be the guy.
First of all, if it's a good question, Chappell did ask it.
Yes.
We all know that on Wednesdays.
No question.
Secondly, okay, we had a debate. What happens to Trent now? Have we seen the last of Trent Richardson?
Yeah, I caught the the $3 million question right there. It sounds like of what that's going to be. If not, I guess if you don't have Trent, you still need another guy, a third guy, a second guy, whatever that's going to be. I'm not sure how far along Zerlon Tipton's going to take you. No. That remains to be seen. But
there's a reason the dude was on the practice squad.
Right, but I think if the kid's given a chance to prove himself, we might be surprised. I'm not sure any of us would have guessed that Boom Herron was going to be this good. And maybe somebody smarter than me did know that, but it's been a pleasant surprise for Colts fans to see him come through like that. And I don't know, what do you do with Trent? It just feels weird now at this point. Hey, you want to come in and you get it running here and there, but it's going to get awkward if nothing else. And I think that you guys, anybody that makes the point that they have to jettison him at the end of this season is not that far off.
Well, the problem with Trent is he's not a guy that you can play, to me, 3 or 4, 6 carries a game. He's a guy that needs the ball to sort of, if he's going to be effective, to where he can wear you down. But this is a kind of an offensive team that I don't think is going to have the patience to stick with the guy that's getting 1, 2, 6.
Not in the playoffs.
Not in the playoffs. So I just don't know that it fits, and whether they make the decision. Even if he comes back next year, you still need a young running back. And I think you'll find one late in the draft or as a free agent to come in and get in the mix.
Well, it looks like now our offense is going to a pass to open up the run, however you want to describe that. And maybe the run is the checkdowns or the wide receiver screens or the screens out of the backfield to the back. And maybe Trent can still fill that role. I mean, he does catch the ball really nice out of the backfield. It makes people miss.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think if he's the starting running back yesterday, he gets those 10 catches. You know, I mean, but does he get the rush yards that Boom got? Those holes were big yesterday. Maybe Trent does get those rush yards. So, I mean, maybe it's just the way the game went yesterday for Boom, and he was the guy in there that got the spoils.
But deep down, you know that.
We hear a lot. I'll jump in. We hear a lot about next man up from these guys. Trent was ill. Boom was given the opportunity to be the guy. And every time we hear next man up for an injury or something, we praise these guys. Give Boom, and you guys give Boom the credit. They called his number. They said, hey, we need you to be the guy today. And he did it in spades.
But deep down, I think we know. I think we've seen Trent Richardson's ceiling. I really do. I think this goes back to he was drafted too high by Cleveland. You know, was he third overall, which was, you know, you just don't do that unless this guy's a special running back. You know, and the Colts give up a first-round pick and all this. He was never going to meet expectations, but I just think you are who you are. This deep into it, this is who you are.
It kind of sucks because we all wanted him to be the guy. I mean, we were all, and then I'm kind of still wanting him to be the guy in some way, shape, or form.
I wanted him to be the guy because he's a great quote.
Yeah.
Boom Herron's a really good player.
He's
but
a great interview and a great kid. When you talk to him, you always leave thinking, man, you want this.
And he
this
owns
guy to
up
succeed.
to it, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not playing as good as I know I should be playing, and I'm working on it.
You hardly ever hear that in the locker room, but at some point you have to say enough. We've seen enough, and it's not fair to everybody else because other players see what's going on, and you just see that. You know, I think they stuck with Trent maybe a little longer than maybe they should have, but I think it's time, at least for now, short term. You've got to move on, and at best case for Trent, he gets 6 carries. That, you know, you've got to go with Boom as long as he doesn't put the ball on the ground.
I just do think it was a little bit of bad luck yesterday that he was ill on the week that Boom gets 10 catches, because I do think if he was the starting running back yesterday, he gets some of those.
Well, his best game of the year was against Cincinnati.
Right.
77 yards before he hurt the hamstring. But it would be wrong to go back to Trent thinking
at this point.
Thinking it's okay. It's different now. Well, no.
Hey, even if it was the other guy, he still would have had that success because Boom was the guy out there making the plays.
So much is about timing too.
I know.
Get it?
I know.
Speaking of timing, Brad Brown, what are you up to the rest of the afternoon?
I haven't made it out of my flannel pants yet today, so I don't have to make any big decisions on this. It's cold. It's going to snow at some point, and I might hunker down here with a couple of the screening DVDs that we've been inclined to receive from the folks at SAG, and get caught up on my Oscar nominees before the Oscar announcement comes out next week.
Well, I'm not sure what side of town he's on, but if he's wearing flannels in Beach Grove, you can go out shopping in your flannels.
This is dressed up in like half the county.
There you go. Overdressed in others.
Oh, only the mayor of Beech Grove can crack with that. So nicely done. Brad Brown, enjoy the rest of the day. Stay out of the snow, buddy. Thanks, man.
Thanks, guys. Yep, see ya.
Hanging out with his Las Vegas sign. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Some people have tough lives.
Huh?
Some people have a tough life. And
Single, nothing to do.
No commitments.
No
I got to take
commitments.
care of this person. I got to go out. This person just.
I know.
I'm gonna get movies. Maybe go get a bite to eat. Maybe take a shower. Maybe not.
Maybe.
And if you don't, who cares? Who knows?
Exactly. Who knows if you stink? Come on.
Oh man.
Monday afternoon quarterback. Let's take a look at Andrew Luck's numbers, and this is one of those days. Jeff, you made the observation before we started. He's now reached the Peyton Manning level where you throw for 376 yards, and it doesn't feel like 376
It was a quiet 376 if it's possible.
Right.
And again, they left, I don't know, 100, 125 yards. I mean, they really, what could have been?
Drop passes. T.Y. Hilton dropped maybe 3 in the first half.
Was the first one to drop by the goal line? If he secures it right away, the defensive guy doesn't get his hands on it, but those are plays T.Y. makes.
Yeah.
Anytime a ball is right here in your chest and you get 2 hands on it, for T.Y. Hilton at least,
Right.
he knows he's supposed. He's had it. I heard his post-game quote. He needs to be better. And
Right.
I mean,
And he still goes 6 for 103.
Exactly.
That's
That's a
crazy.
good better. That's a good need to be better.
Right.
By the way, Luck throwing his third consecutive 300-yard playoff passing game. The record is 4, held by Dan Fouts back in 1981.
Didn't know that.
And Luck leads the playoff record in passes yards, those two, the first 4 playoff games in a career.
Also, T.Y. has got 3 straight 100-yard games
in the playoffs.
And that's one short of the record. And I'm not sure who's got that.
I'm not either, but I know he has the most, or he's the 3rd most 100-yard receiving game since 2012 behind Calvin Johnson and Demaryius Thomas. That's pretty good.
That's damn good. Is that what that is? That's pretty,
I mean,
let me ask you this. I'm sorry, go ahead.
And Andrew, I mean, he has the most passing yards through his first 4 games in the playoffs.
14, 60, something like
Yeah,
that.
and he passed.
Kurt Warner?
It was Kurt Warner. Thank you.
Let me ask you this. So you talk about the drops. Because fans, and I fall into this category when I watch a game too, if the ball hits a receiver's hands, should it be a catch?
Supposed to catch it.
Hit your hands, you're supposed to catch it.
Yeah, I mean, that's
no matter what position you're in or whatever.
Adage. I mean, if he's going one-handed up in the air a
Okay,
couple
well, if
feet,
you're
yes.
Odell Beckham Jr., yes.
Right.
But I mean, if it hits your hands, it's your job to catch it.
Yeah, like.
So it's fair criticism if a ball hits T.Y.'s hands.
Or like Kobe flew it in the middle of the field and,
wide open.
I'm sorry, Kobe. I didn't mean to take that.
That was the 4, though. The one, the T.Y. on the goal line in the first drive, I thought that was a drop in my eyes. The T.Y. on the sideline
Oh, my goodness.
was a drop in my eyes. The Cole sideline.
The one that he should have scored on, he turned his head too soon.
The
That was
one
the third
coming
one. Go ahead.
to
The second drop.
Yes,
Right,
it was
okay,
a corner route of some
Right,
sort
right,
to
right.
the Cole sidelines, and then the third was obviously the one. He ran a quick out. They brought everybody on a blitz. It was one-on-one coverage. He ran a quick out. He knew he was going to catch the ball. He was trying to turn real quick enough to get to the goal line. Took his eyes off it, dropped that one, and then Kobe Fleener seamed down the
After
side.
dropping those first couple, then Luck throws that one. Was it 3rd and 11 or whatever?
And the other one on the sideline.
Was that a beautiful throw?
And that was a beautiful catch too.
I don't know that I've seen Luck have a better throwing game than he had yesterday.
Yeah.
Where he put the ball.
Pinpoint.
Maybe 1 or 2 passes that weren't where they were supposed to be.
He was very cerebral, I thought,
Oh,
yesterday.
geez. And again, I think he was very conscious of not making mistakes.
Right.
Yeah.
And in playoffs, again, he had 8 interceptions in the playoffs prior to this, and he just took care of the football, and that's what he's got to do.
I felt like we did have a lot of guys running wide open down the field. I mean, even though the touchdown pass to Dante Moncrief, it was pressure, he had Kobe on the other side of the field wide open that he would have caught it and ran for a touchdown. But again, he did look almost like he was surprised he had that much time in the pocket to find somebody down the field. Like,
16 games he hasn't had that kind
right.
of time.
And I thought the offensive line really did a phenomenal job.
How about the throw to Moncrief, by the way?
Oh, my
With a couple guys basically at his
Steps
ankles.
up, Carlos Dunlap's at his feet.
Falling
Right.
down.
It's amazing.
And perfect throw. I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't like,
Well, and he just
kind
flipped
of
it, flicked it with his wrist.
and it was 40 yards? I mean,
36 yards,
36
yeah.
yards. So.
I mean, I thought one of his better plays, we talked about it before we started here, was second quarter. I forget what down it was, but they were down on the 20-yard line or so. And, I mean, he must have had the ball 4 or 5 seconds or so. Finally didn't find anybody and just
Threw it away.
And I'm thinking, that's progress
go.
right there, you know?
You could tell that clock in his head, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It got to 0. He started looking around for the defensive players,
And
I
they
was
still,
like,
but they still weren't there, but then they got rid of it.
Yeah.
He didn't make a no play a bad play, which is what
Right.
you've got to do.
Here's what's next, stat-wise anyway. Yeah, guess what? Trip to Denver. That guy, 18.
Is he
Peyton
still playing?
Manning, he's still. How many years is it now?
16?
16 now. He is 4th in passing this season. The completion percentage of 66.2, which is actually down a little bit for Peyton. 39 touchdowns, 15 picks. C.J. Anderson, he'll be the guy to stop on the ground. 849 rushing yards this season, 8 TDs. Julius Thomas. Remember what Julius Thomas did earlier this season?
I do
with the
remember.
Colts?
3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I'll be guessing Lamar Landry's not covering him when he's going out wide. And
That's still one of the all-time what?
Probably not DeQuell Jackson either, I'm guessing.
Or DeQuell
I
Jackson.
wouldn't mind
Jackson.
Jarrell Freeman on
Yeah.
it. I'll
Freeman.
let's
try it.
Freeman's not bad.
Freeman's playing better.
He finally, I think he's been hurt most of the year. I want to write about him this week, but he's been hurt against the Denver game. He had a hamstring, I think it was.
Right.
He's finally starting to make plays that make a difference. He's just not getting tackled.
Some of the open field tackles he made yesterday
question.
were really good. I mean, they were on the Jeremy Hill types. And you could tell it was a tough tackle, and he got it done.
Defensively, the guys to watch, linebacker Brandon Marshall, a team high 110 tackles, a couple sacks. Von Miller being Von Miller, team high 14 sacks this season. And how about the Broncos picking up Aqib Talib this season? He has 4 picks along with Raheem Moore. Much more on the Denver Broncos a longtime sports anchor at KMGH, our sister station, the ABC affiliate in Denver, Colorado. Lionel Bienvenu joining us via the Skype lines. Lionel, great to have you here on Horseplay on the RTV6 app and the IndyChannel.com. What's going on in Denver?
Well, guys, we are right here in the Broncos team store. You're talking about Peyton Manning. If you want me to bring you this,
yeah, give me a Manning
send
jersey
that up here for this week's game, or if you want a Peyton Manning bobblehead, they're right here. National Bobblehead Day is Wednesday, by the way, guys. But yeah, Broncos country here is ready for this game because, I mean, look, you can't get any more storylines than Peyton Manning going against Andrew Luck, his old franchise, and Irsay with the Star Wars numbers comment. We're going to see if that's going to happen here. So
forgot about
this
that.
game is set up to be, I mean, just an incredible game here in the Mile High. And I think that's the key, guys, is we are here in Denver. It's not going to be a dome, okay? Here's what you're going to see. Take a look outside right now.
What do we got here? Snow. Look at that.
Yeah, it's snow. It's not bad. It's 47 today, but there could be some snow on Sunday. It's going to be cold. Andrew Luck, I believe, his playoff record is 2-0 at home, 0-2 on the road. And he's coming on the road here in Denver.
Lionel's throwing shots at it.
Crazy. So we're looking forward to a great game. And there'll be plenty of these hats out there, guys, that you can always get if you want. I mean, this will keep you warm.
Well, yeah.
Although David will be in the press box eating lots of food, as he always does. But
is there any Brock Osweiler jerseys out there in the
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. Got any Osweiler jerseys in there, Lionel?
Hold on. Let's see. I think
probably got to order that one.
You can actually customize your jersey here.
There you go.
So as we go down the line, I mean, there's Peyton Manning, there's Julius Thomas,
White.
Von Miller, DeMarcus Ware, and then we could put an Osweiler 17 on this one for you.
Put a Jim Sorgi 12 on that
go.
bed. There you go.
But look, guys, there's no plans to see Osweiler on Sunday, okay? So we can throw that out. There are plans to see Julius Thomas. As you guys know, he had 3 touchdown receptions in the first game between these two teams. He got hurt in Week 10 against the Rams. No touchdowns since then, okay? I mean, none in the team's last 7 games. So he's recovering from an injury. He should be healthy with the bye week. He could make a huge difference in this game if Peyton Manning can look for Julius Thomas in the red zone.
Well, here's a question for you. Is this team playing as good as it wants to be playing right now, heading into the playoffs?
Well, they're playing differently than they had. This team is totally different from Week 1 when the Colts came here to open the season. They're also totally different than Week 10 when they lost to the Rams and they only had 9 rushing attempts. What this team decided to do, guys, is get away from the Star Wars numbers. You know what? Mr. Irsay was probably right. You can put up Star Wars numbers all you want. Peyton had 55 touchdowns, over 5,500 yards passing last year, and they got blown out in the Super Bowl. Okay, all those stats meant nothing against the Seahawks. So this team decided to go ahead and get some defense. They're the number 3 ranked defense overall, number 2 against the run, number 9 against the pass. They signed Aqib Talib, DeMarcus Ware, and T.J. Ward in the offseason, 3 all-pro guys, now Pro Bowl players in their first year here. Their defense is much better than it was last year. And Peyton had 1 touchdown pass in December, guys. 1. C.J. Anderson had, I think, 7 touchdowns in December. When has that ever happened that the running back has more touchdowns than Peyton Manning does in the stretch run here? So this team is different. And Peyton's a little kind of discombobulated about this. He's still trying to figure out what's going on with the running game because as you well know, he is a rhythm passer. Gets into a rhythm. Hurry up offense. Boom, boom, boom. Down the field. 5 for 5 and a touchdown on an 80-yard drive. Well, he's handing the ball off more than I think he ever has in his career. Actually, he had 3 touchdown passes in December. 3 touchdown passes in 4 games. Unheard of. That is not Star Wars numbers, guys. So this team has totally changed directions. And if you believe that defense and a strong running game wins in the playoffs, which a lot of people will tell you, including members of this team, then the Broncos are more set up this year to win a Super Bowl than they were in the previous 2 seasons with Peyton.
Mike, what you got?
No, I was wondering how Peyton, like you kind of referred to it, how he's handled this lesser role. Not that he's along for the ride because he still makes the throws, but this takes an adjustment on his part, I would think, to, I guess, accept the new offense he's running.
Yeah, you're right. It is kind of foreign to him. And, Peyton's a guy that says whatever it takes to win, If I hand the ball off to, C.J. Anderson 25 times, he gets 120 yards and scores 3 touchdowns, and I don't throw a touchdown pass, which has happened in a game this year, then I think he's fine with winning. He wants another. He wants another ring. He's had the MVPs. He's had the records from last year: most touchdown passes, most passing yards in a season. He's got all that. I think he wants the ring. I think what's hard for him is trying to get into a rhythm, as we said, establish some sort of chemistry when he's handing the ball off 2 times, then throwing a pass, then another 2 handoffs, then another pass, and then another handoff, and then a pass. Usually, like I said, he's used to just throwing it down the field the whole time. So that's the adjustment he's been forced to make.
I remember when Peyton, you were part of the team too, Jim. It was a big story when he started to check down to run plays to Edgerrin,
Right.
or Dom Rhodes, or Joe Adai. That became a big story. It was a conscious decision, I think, and really worked wonders. I don't know if what he's doing in Denver is all that great a departure than what he's maybe used to here in Indianapolis.
Well, I'm wondering how they're running the offense in Denver right now, because obviously when we were here, it was always you had 3 plays. You had a strong side run, a weak side run, and a pass, and whatever one the defense was set up to not be able to defend well, that's what play we ran.
Right.
Now, I'm wondering if he's checking to these runs in Denver, or is a pass play called and he's checking to it, or is it called from the sidelines? It'd be interesting for me to find that out, just because of the fact that he is a guy that if a run look presents itself, he will go ahead.
He has no problem with it.
He has no problem checking to a run. So.
What's the word, Lionel? Are these called run plays, or is he checking down to C.J. Anderson?
Well, I can tell you these are called run plays. It's a concerted effort by the offense after that game in St. Louis where they ran the ball 9 times and got beat by the Rams to run the football from the get-go. So Peyton might be checking into some running plays, but those running plays that they're running in this offense now are definitely called. There's no doubt about it. Those are not audibles. Those are not checkdowns at the line. Those are plays. Those are things this offense wants to do: set up the run, have a strong rushing game. I think John Elway remembers Terrell Davis a little bit in the 2 Super Bowl championships. Elway didn't put up any Star Wars numbers. He handed the ball off. They had a strong running game, and that's how they won the title. 2 titles.
That's right, exactly. Hey, last thing, what is, and we were there last year, obviously, how has Denver embraced Peyton? Does it continue? Is he still the man? Could he run for mayor of Denver if he wanted to? Kind of like when he was here in Indianapolis, he could probably do the same thing. I mean,
yeah.
What's the feeling? You've got number 7 still sitting in the front office. John Elway is always going to be John Elway. But what's the perception with Peyton there in Denver?
Well, I tell you what, he's a consummate professional. And he does so many things in the community. You guys know more than we do about what he does in the community. Yeah. He does a lot of that kind of away from the cameras as well. A lot of it isn't publicized, but he does a lot of stuff here. I mean, he's only 3 years in, but I think every Broncos fan realizes what they're seeing here, and that's one of the best, if not the best, quarterback in NFL history. Everybody appreciates what Peyton is doing. He's certainly embraced his community. They've accepted him. I mean, the last quarterback we had was Tim Tebow before that, and Tebow took the place by storm just because of how he was winning games. And when Peyton came in, Peyton's like, okay, I'm going to show you exactly what a professional CEO of an offense, how we run this corporation on offense, because that's what it is. It's coldly efficient. Okay, you guys know this. Peyton Manning is coldly efficient. He's the boss. Okay, but we've accepted him. It's different than you guys in Indy, though. You had him for so long. I think if he wins a Super Bowl here this year and comes back next year, or wins it next year, whenever, I think he'll go down as one of the most beloved figures in Denver sports history here, if he can bring that title home.
That kind of leads me to my question, my last question for you. Any idea what his future plans are? Is it, if he wins a Super Bowl, he's done this year? Is he come back next year no matter what? Or is it based on the ring?
Right. Well, I think he said last week, as a matter of fact, came out and said it straight up. He goes, I want to be here as long as the Broncos will have me. I plan on playing again next year. That's what he said. Now, if he wins a Super Bowl, does that change? Possibly. I mean, he might want to go out on top. John Elway did it here. Won a Super Bowl, then retired. You don't get a chance to go out on top often in this business, guys, as you well know. Usually it's yanked away from you before you're ready. But if he doesn't win a championship, I think he's back for sure next year. If he does win a Super Bowl this year, then I think he's going to have to rethink that. But he said last week he wants to fulfill his contract. He wants to be back next year. No doubts about it.
Gotcha.
Hey, last thing, Lyle, does he know everybody, media-wise, does he know everybody's name in Denver by now? Does he?
I'm sorry, come again.
Does he address everyone, the media in Denver, by their first name? Does he know everybody?
He does. I mean, all the beat writers and the guys he sees out here every week.
Right.
Yeah, he'll call them out, and he always calls out our Broncos director of PR, Patrick Smythe, as well. He says, "Well, Patrick told me this," and he's great with first names, guys. You know that. I mean, Dave, I saw you in a press conference here when the Colts came in, and he was answering questions at Sports Authority Field, and he said, "Well, Dave," so he addressed you even here in Denver. So yeah, he's great about that. He knows everybody's name. He does the same thing with all the personnel that work for the Broncos. He knows everybody's name. The hundreds of people that work on staff here, he greets them by first names as well. So you know the drill with Peyton Manning.
It's he's the consummate professional when it comes to the game. There's no doubt about it. Hey, thanks so much, Lionel. You can put the arm down now. You did a great job.
Hi, guys. Be sure to get one of these for you when you come in.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah. There we go. Keep nice and warm. Thanks, buddy.
All right.
We'll talk to you later. Lionel Bienvenu,
Okay,
sports anchor at KMGH.
A lot of
Denver,
confidence
Colorado.
in Denver right now. A lot of confidence.
You know, when the sports anchors are talking smack, I'm like, really? Come on. But, you know.
But I don't know if what they're doing right now is the formula for success for Denver. I really don't. I mean,
it seems like they're grasping for straws.
Yeah, it seems like they're reaching a little bit. I mean, they did lose 2 weeks ago to the Cincinnati Bengals. Granted, they were on the road, but when they couldn't run the football against the Cincinnati Bengals, they had to throw the ball, and Peyton throws 3 interceptions, and they lose that game. I mean, I don't know. Then they beat the Oakland Raiders in the finale of the regular season. Does that give you the confidence to know that you're going to run through the playoffs and win the Super Bowl?
Beating Tennessee the last game. What did that prove for you?
What did it prove for you? So, you know, I don't know. If they're going to try to pound the ball with C.J. Anderson, I think we can stop the run. And if it is cold and Peyton's throwing the ball over the field, I think that plays into our strengths too with who we have healthy this game. So, I mean, I don't see it being as easy as a lot of people see it.
I give the Colts a puncher's chance in this game on Sunday.
I mean, granted, Peyton Manning, I know how great Peyton Manning can be. I've seen it. I had a front row view. I was in, his back pocket for 6 years. So, I mean, I've seen it. And I know he can take over a game. I know the addition of a running game. If they were having a balanced attack, throwing and running right now, but like he said, 3 touchdowns in the month of December, that doesn't seem right.
How many picks a month? He's had 6 picks
like you
or so.
say, just like either or. They haven't found that mixture of how they want to do the offense. It's either we're going to run it or we're going to throw it. They can't find the mixture of it.
And maybe it works for them because if they take away the run, they can throw the ball. If they take away, the pass, they can run the ball now. But it just doesn't seem like, yes, they found a running game, but they found a running game in absence of a passing game, not in
at the expense of their passing game.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just he seemed a lot more confident in.
Well, maybe because he knows his name. Maybe that's.
There you go.
The thing about Peyton when he was here, he knew the photographers' names.
Yeah.
He'd call our photographer Otis Jones. He called him, "Hey, Otis, I saw you down there on the goal line. You okay after that?"
It's amazing.
How do you know this?
It's amazing.
I swear he has like a filing cabinet.
Like
1,000 filing cabinets in his brain, and he just files it all the way. And whenever he needs it, he just yanks it. Oh, there it is, and he just has it.
Let's hope. Final thing. Let's hope around town this week. I have a personal issue with these sort of things. See, have you seen these hybrid Colts Broncos jerseys?
Pick a side. Pick a team.
Here's this. I'm not even sure what this is. You got a luck jersey with a. This makes no sense.
It's so hard. People say, I hope Peyton does well, but the Colts win.
What? We all love Peyton, but we want to get the Colts. And then there's this guy, the Denverapolis Broncos T-shirt.
Well, that's pretty.
You like this?
No, I mean I like the
creative.
The creativeness of
that.
I do. I like the Bronco head with the horseshoe. I mean, that's kind of a cool little logo right there.
Look,
pick a side.
Put the Peyton jersey away until he comes back and retires as a Colt, maybe. But for now, you got to root on the home team, don't you?
Pick a side. If you want to be
Pick
for
a
Peyton,
side.
if you want to pick Peyton's side, then fine. Wear the Broncos Manning jersey.
Yeah.
So I understand fans doing that, but it's going to be all week. We're going to have that all week.
Oh, it's only just begun too.
But it is pretty cool. I did hear on the Grady and Big Joe show this morning that he's the only guy to start 200 games for one franchise and play that franchise in the playoffs. So this is a big deal,
right?
In realms of the NFL and around the country. So I'm excited for this week.
Think about this. What if the Colts win Sunday? he decides to retire, his last game would be a loss to the team he spent.
That would never happen.
No.
Oh,
He
no
loses, he's coming back.
way, Yes.
100%.
100%. It's 75% he's coming back.
Yeah,
and
I
if
would
he
agree
wins the
with
Super
that.
Bowl, it's 100% he's coming back
If
and
it never
loses to his
lost.
former team in the playoffs.
All right, so what do you think happens Sunday to wrap things up here?
I think the Colts play a good game and they get beat at the end. I still like Peyton out there with their running
Yeah.
game, and I think they can do enough. It was 31-24 earlier. Along that line again, I just don't think the Colts will get behind like they did. Was it 24-7 or whatever it was?
Yeah.
They were down
I
early.
think
big time.
this is going to be a good game, but I still think Denver's got enough to put the test on this defense.
Not to put you on the spot here.
I know. I just think that first week one would have went so much differently if we, remember we kicked the field goal, we got the penalty, and we decided to punt, and then we throw the interception on the next drive. I just think it would have gone so much differently if we would have had a little bit different of a defensive game plan. If we were playing defense the way we are now, and offense does not do those things that hurt us. Because you remember all that stuff. I mean, Ahmad ripping the ball from Luck and running it for a touchdown,
Right.
and calling him down, and so many things happened in that first game. So
You're not picking a score. You're not picking a win. I mean, come on.
I don't think I can do it right here on a Monday.
He needs more time to digest
I need more time
everything.
to really dive into things, but
He was.
Hey, we know this. The hype is going to be tremendous all week long. So, and it's only just begun.
And you're
yes,
thinking,
and you.
I would go with the Broncos, I think. But I agree with you. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a good game as well.
I'll be shocked if the Colts don't play well. I'll be shocked.
Do you
They're
think-
going to get up for this thing.
Do you think the Colts take the running game beats the Colts, or the passing game beats
passing
the
game?
Colts?
I think the passing game beats the
So
Colts.
we do what we do. We stop
Julius
the run.
Thomas,
and-
he's that. If he's healthy, he's the matchup nightmare. They've got two of the outside guys. If to me, if they get beat, it won't be Anderson running for 160. It'll be Peyton throwing for his 350 and hurting you with.
Emmanuel Sanders out there.
Yeah.
Demarius
What'll be interesting if we learn a little bit from the Cincinnati Bengals. You know how they showed blitz up the middle, and then Peyton walked up the line, and they move guys here, and then those guys don't come. The guys come from over here. It'd be interesting if we take a little bit from that playbook. And Peyton, cold weather, snow, he's been known to throw some picks in that kind of weather. So I just cannot I can't pick right now. But you know where I'm leaning. If
I
my
know.
argument kind of tells you where I'm leaning.
He's going to tell us next week. I picked it all along.
Exactly.
I had it all along.
And that's a great segue. We'll be back here next Monday. Boy, could we be talking about an AFC championship?
Well,
Hosted-
there will be
hosted
an
AFC
Hosting. He was the
there
host.
will be an AFC championship game.
Well, whether or not it's the Colts or not, anyway. Mike Chappell, Jim Sorge, great to have you guys. Lionel Bienvenu from Denver, Brad Brown here in Indianapolis as well. Enjoy the week. It's going to be the hype alone. It's going to be fun, and then we'll get to game day. Boy, Katie bar the door after that. Thanks for watching here on RTV6, the Indy channel, and the RTV6 app as well. We'll see you next Monday, 12:30 for Week 19 of Horseplay.